started my YouTube channel 2 years ago now. Almost 2 years ago, which is crazy. And I have continued to study YouTube relentlessly throughout that entire time. And I have come to the conclusion that if I was starting from zero today on YouTube, I would actually go about things super differently. And there are 5 steps that I would take that I really think would fast track my success on this social media platform. So if you're starting from zero, or if you are in the growth phase and you're trying to reach some big subscriber numbers in the immediate future, I recommend watching this video because I'm going to be telling you my exact 5 steps that I would be taking if I was starting from zero on YouTube today. Now, before we get started, 2 things very quickly to flag. The first is that I have a new freebie. It is my full guide to monetizing yourself as a content creator. It is 35 pages long and it covers every single form of monetization from brand partnerships all the way to UGC, and it is free and it is available in my description. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I upload content like this every week, so I feel like you would like it here. I feel like you should subscribe. Okay, let's get to it. So I really want to share this resource with you before I get into my 5 steps, because this resource is going to help all content creators regardless of what platform you're on, but also regardless of where you're at in your journey. So it's really important that we talk about it first. And the resource is Epidemic Sound. Now, Epidemic Sound is the sponsor of today's video, and if you're not familiar with them already, Epidemic Sound is basically a royalty-free soundtrack company. So it's where I go to when I want to get my backing tracks for my YouTube videos, right? Now, music is super important to storytelling and it can sometimes make or break your content. Now, Epidemic Sound provides you with restriction-free music and sound effects that you can use across all of your content without having to worry about it getting taken down or muted. So let me show you what Epidemic Sound looks like, because it's got some really intuitive navigation. So this is what Epidemic Sound looks like. As you can see, when you go onto the browse page, it gives you the opportunity to find different songs or soundtracks or sound effects based on things like your genre, mood, themes, albums, or if you just want to focus on sound effects, then you can click on this tab. So if I click on the sound effects tab, you're going to see all of the sound effects grouped in different categories. So for example, cartoon or whooshes, my personal favorite, ambience, weather, user interface, etc. And you may not notice this, but I actually use sound effects quite frequently in all of my video content. And now that I flagged it, you're probably going to start to notice it more now. But it just helps to make your content a bit more dynamic. And it's also really great for retaining the attention of people watching your videos, because when you use a sound effect, it usually captures someone's attention because it breaks up the sound of your voice. Now, when it comes to the licenses on Epidemic Sound, there's a couple of different options. So it doesn't really matter if you're a video creator or if you create videos for clients, you can actually just pick whichever license works for you. So for example, there is the personal plan, which covers you for all social media platforms, including platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. Or there is the commercial plan, which covers your freelancing projects and commercial business projects as well. If we head to the genres and have a look at some of the catalog, I normally go to like hip hop or beats or R&B and soul. So let's go to hip hop. So here you're going to see a bunch of different songs that you can choose from, which you can filter by moods, genres, duration, BPM, vocals, etc. Now, Epidemic Sound has a huge catalog of songs. They actually have over 35,000 soundtracks and over 90,000 sound effects. So it really gives you the opportunity to pick whatever suits you, your mood, your content, etc. There's so much variety. And new tracks are added to their catalog every single week. Also, if you're curious as to what songs I use in my videos, you can actually go to the saved bar at the top and click on downloads. And here you're going to see some of the songs that I downloaded within the past month to use on my content in case you want to copy them. Now, the interface on Epidemic Sound is super easy to use, and it's designed for creators so that you can save time and really find the songs that you're looking for really quickly and efficiently. So if you want to join Epidemic Sound, you can head to the link in my description to get a 30-day free trial, and you can start playing around and using all of their really cool sound effects and music tracks. Okay, so step 1, also known as the first thing that I would do if I was starting from zero on YouTube, right? The first thing I would do is I would set a goal. Now, please stick with me on this, because I'm not saying that I would sit down and say, okay, I want 50,000 subscribers within the next 12 months. That's not the kind of goal that I'm looking to set. Instead, the goal that I want to create is more around a habit versus an achievement. So the goal that I would set myself, and I would recommend you either stealing this goal or setting yourself a similar goal to this one, is that I would upload 1 video per week for at least 1 year on YouTube before I was allowed to quit and before I was allowed to slow down or make any significant changes. Now, the reason why this goal is so important is because when you are starting from zero on YouTube, a lot of the time we can go into it thinking, oh my God, I'm just gonna create a couple of videos, go viral, and that'll be it for me, right? I'll quit my job, I'll go traveling, and that'll be the rest of my life. Unfortunately, that isn't always how things work. I mean, sometimes that is how it works, but for most of us, mere mortals, that's not how things are gonna go down. And because it can sometimes take a little while for us to get traction on our YouTube channel, it can be very demoralizing in the first couple of months to a year when we are just not getting any views or any engagement on our content. And I know that, I'm speaking from experience. My first 6 months on YouTube, which I'm very aware is not even that long to have experienced this for, but my first 6 months I was getting absolutely nothing. I was getting 10 views per video and I could literally name exactly who those 10 people were because they're all my friends and family. Like, I was not getting any traction, but I set myself the goal that regardless of how poorly I felt I was doing, I was going to upload 1 video every single week for an entire year, and that was it. There was no way that I was going to let myself get beaten down by the poor performance of my content and let myself quit within that time. Now, there is a reason why I want you to set yourself a variation of this goal. And there is a study that's been done that says that most people don't start to see any traction on their YouTube channel until they've uploaded at least 52 videos. So that is about a year, right? Is there 52 or 54 weeks in the year? There's 52 weeks in the year. Please ignore that I ever thought it was 54. That's very embarrassing. So there are 52 weeks in the year. The average channel needs 52 videos to start to see some traction. If we do the math, guys, that means that if we stick to our schedule of uploading at least 1 video, sometimes upload more, for the period of 1 year, there's a very good chance that by the time we get to that year, we're gonna be like, okay, now I get 50 views per video, or now I've got 100 subscribers. Wherever you're at the end of the year, it's probably going to be a better position than wherever you were when you were a couple months into your journey. And you never would have reached that point if you let yourself give up, right? If I'm being completely honest, if I did not set myself that goal, I am almost completely certain that I probably would have given up, because I had a lot on my plate already, and running a YouTube channel takes a lot of time, right? We all know that. And there was so many times where I was like, what is the point of me doing this? Why am I spending like so many hours a week on this when I'm literally not getting anything from it? So I could have easily given up. And how crazy would that have been? Because how much has my life changed as a result of me not giving up and giving myself that year? So step 2, the second thing that I would do if I was starting from zero on YouTube is I would pick a value offering and not a niche. Let me explain. A value offering is the term that I like to throw around every few minutes, which is referring to the value that you offer your audience when they watch your content. And your value offering can be super varied. So valuable content comes in loads of different forms. It could be educational, entertaining, relatable, inspirational. It just has to be something that provides some kind of value to someone else's life, right? That's really important on all social media, not just on YouTube. So the reason why I recommend that you come up with a value offering, so you come up with something that people are going to get from your content and you decide that that is what people are going to get from your content, rather than a niche, is because on YouTube, you don't need to have a defined niche to get started. And if you're really new to this and you don't know what a niche is basically like a theme. It's like a theme of your content. It's one specific thing that you talk about that has a specific audience who are interested in it. So for example, Japanese street style is like a very specific niche, right? So you don't need a niche when you're starting out on YouTube. Here's why. You could actually start out by creating content about a few different things. As long as you have a value offering, so you know that you're providing some kind of value for your content, there's a chance that all of your niches, or at least 1 or 2 of your niches, will perform well. If you decide to niche down at a later date, you are completely within your power to do so. And because you started by talking about a few different things, YouTube will actually tell you which niche is most popular for you. You can look at your analytics, see what content has performed well, and if you want to niche down, you can zero in on the content that performed well for you. Now, if you're wondering why you would ever niche down and not just carry on talking about different niches, well, it's because when you niche down, you normally see quicker growth. But the flip side of niching down is that sometimes people feel a bit creatively restricted and they feel like they've put themselves in a bit of a box. So there are pros and cons to each route, and it's just completely up to you as to what route you want to go down. But the main thing that you need to achieve in this step is figuring out what your value offering is. Are people going to watch your content to be entertained? Are they going to watch your content because you're relatable? Are they going to watch your content to get some kind of educational value from it, which is what my value offering is? Try and define that, because that's really what's going to help you guide your content. Okay, so step 3, you might not like. I'm going to call step 3 fast track. So one of the biggest barriers that you are going to face when you're starting out on YouTube is the fact that you do not want to, or feel like you cannot start actually creating the content. You would tell yourself, I've got too many ideas, I don't have the right equipment, I don't know how to edit. You give yourself all these excuses to make you feel a bit more comfortable in your decision not to just start creating content. You cannot start your YouTube channel without content, my friend. I hate to break it to you, okay? I actually had a client, I've got a client now, who was really funny. Like the other day we were talking about her YouTube channel that she's starting, and she was like, should I just go live? And I was like, no, why do you want to go live for your first YouTube video? And she was like, well, because then I don't have to edit it. And I just thought it was really funny, because it's a really great example of how powerful that barrier to creating content and editing our content and just getting started can really be, right? So what step 3 involves is you fast tracking and going past that barrier by creating a whole load of content in a short space of time. Now, because we're talking about what I would do if I was starting from zero, I would challenge myself to create 8 videos in 2 weeks. Obviously, this depends on your schedule and what your life is like, whether that's even possible for you. But think about the most amount of videos that you think you can create over the period of 2 weeks and just double it. The idea is that it's supposed to feel challenging. It's supposed to feel like a push, right? Try and schedule this content creation on a week or a weekend where you know you don't have much on. You are not going to keep up this speed of creating content. This isn't what your life is going to be like forever. But the idea is that this is a challenge to push yourself to just rip the band-aid off and start creating. So if you've challenged yourself to create a lot of content in a short period of time, a couple of things are going to happen. The first is that you're going to realize that it's actually nowhere near as difficult or as daunting as you've been telling yourself, right? And the second is that you're going to fast track your skill set. So suddenly, because you've got a lot of content that you need to edit, you're going to learn the shortcuts for editing very quickly because you need to. Suddenly, because you've got so much content you need to edit, you're going to learn how to prep for your videos super quickly because you need to. You're forcing yourself to push past all of these barriers and these blocks that you're going to face when you are starting out on YouTube. And that is why my third step would be to fast track yourself and fast track your progress. Step 4 would be to learn and apply. The specific things that I want you to focus on learning in step 4 is YouTube SEO, which stands for search engine optimization, and also how to find trending topics. Now, fortunately for you, I've got videos. I don't know if I've got a video specifically on trending topics, but I definitely have a video on YouTube search that I'll link to, right? And the reasons why I want you to immerse yourself in these 2 topics is because these are the 2 topics that you need to learn in order for your videos to get views. If your videos are not getting views or impressions, so if your videos are not appearing under search terms on YouTube, if your videos are not appearing on people's browser tabs or anything like that when they open up their YouTube channel, it is going to be very difficult for you to see the progress that you want to see. This really is the first thing that you need to tackle on YouTube to really see some success, right? When you learn how to optimize your videos for search, it means that when people are searching for content which is similar to yours, there is a bigger chance of your content appearing, right? That is what helps you get off the starting blocks and which helps you actually ensure that people are seeing that you have content to share in the first place. And the trending topics part is important because when you learn how to identify trending topics in relation to your niche, you increase the chances of you creating that viral video that gets picked up by YouTube and pushed out to people because it's about a topic that people are looking for. Now, if I give you a real life example of this, when I first started out on YouTube, I would talk about whatever I felt like talking about. So I mean, there was a bit more strategy behind that. Maybe I'm not giving myself enough credit, but I would think, okay, what do I want to talk about this week? Oh, I know, how to select a good business name, right? That's actually a video that I did and it comes to mind because it's my worst performing video ever. So I decided I was going to create a video on how to find a good business name for your brand. And my way of validating that video topic was to search on YouTube for similar videos. And if I found a video that had a lot of views, to me that meant, oh, okay, great. That means that my video will get a lot of views. And that's not true because you've got to remember that if a creator uploaded a video about business names and it performed really well, maybe it got 100,000 views, that creator might have 1 million subscribers. So 100,000 views for them probably isn't even that impressive, right? Or you'll also think about when was the video uploaded? Maybe that was a trending topic 4 years ago and now it's not trending anymore, right? So I'm not saying that you have to only upload content that's trending when you're starting out, But when I made the switch to uploading content that I knew was trending, so just having a really good sense of what people were looking for and what people needed help with in relation to my niche at that time, for example, that led to me uploading my Instagram algorithm video, which was my first video to perform super well for me. It meant that I started to get a lot of views on my content, and it really was the catalyst which allows me to see some pretty steady growth. Step number 5, my final step. I mean, there's obviously, oh, that was like a weird thing I was doing. There's obviously more things you could do after this step, but this is the 5th and final step that I would do if I was starting from zero on YouTube. And the step is to make micro improvements to my content. Now, a lot of the time we put ourselves under loads of pressure for our first piece of content to be amazing. And I just want you to know that if your first piece of content on YouTube is amazing, then you started too late. It's not supposed to be good. It's supposed to be rubbish, okay? We just need to rip the band-aid off and just start creating regardless of how bad we think the first video is going to be. You can hide it in 4 years' time should you choose to do so, okay? For now, we just need to start creating. What we then want to do, now that we've started the process of creating, is make micro improvements. So the idea is that we're not going to upload our first video and then be like, oh, it's rubbish, let me change everything about it and make the next one a sensation. No, you're putting too much pressure on yourself, and it's probably going to result in you being in a place where you don't want to create at all. So instead, we make the micro improvements. And here are a few things for you to look out for when you are trying to figure out what you can improve in your content after every single video. So the first thing you want to look at is your comments. Your comments is a really great place for you to gather feedback on your content. For example, I realized that it was time for me to get a microphone because I was getting a lot of comments about my sound. I also realized that some of the backdrops I was using for my content just weren't working and weren't lit properly and all that various different things because people were telling me in my comments. So one of the first places you want to look is in your comments. But if you're not getting a lot of traction in your comments just yet because you've just started out, another place you want to look is in your analytics. And there is one specific area that I want you to focus on, and that is in your audience retention. So let's take a look at my own YouTube studio so I can show you exactly what I'm referring to. So you want to go to YouTube Studio, your dashboard. You then want to go to analytics and you want to click on content, right? You then want to click on this button here, what just says videos. It's going to give you an overview of how your video content is performing. Now, when you scroll down, this is the bit that I want you to look at because this is showing you your audience retention. So what it's going to show you is your top 5 videos that have really great introductions. So it's showing you the percentage of your viewers who are still watching your videos after 30 seconds. So this is really useful, especially when you're just getting started, because it's going to show you which videos have really good intros. And when you have a good intro to your videos, you increase the chances of people wanting to watch the rest of your video. So these ones have great intros because 76% of my viewers are still watching after 30 seconds, and these ones do not have good intros, which is really interesting because these are actually a lot of my most recent videos. So that is a learning for me. Clearly I'm babbling too much in my intros. I have to work on that. Okay, so another thing that you want to look at is this little graph here because it's actually showing you your retention map for an entire video. So if I click on this one, for example, it's going to change, and the gray part is showing you your typical retention and the purple line is showing you your retention for that specific video. So this video has really good retention. So let's really expose myself a bit here and show you a video that doesn't have good retention, which I'm guessing is going to be this one. Oh, that hurts. This one does not have good retention at all. What a shame. So here in grey, you can see the typical retention for my videos, and the purple is showing you what the actual retention rate is here. What you want to pay attention is to little bits like these. I've got little peaks here, and these are usually when I change topics or when I give you new tips. So people normally fast forward to try and find out what I'm talking about later in my video. But it's always worth just paying attention to these different parts. So if you click on it, it's going to fast forward to that part of the video, and it's going to allow you to get a really deeper understanding of why people are skipping through your videos, why people are watching specific parts of your videos more than others, but also why people just aren't staying on your video for the duration of it. Like, that's just going to give you some information. So that is something that you can look at when you're trying to make micro improvements to your content. It will give you a good idea of how many people are actually watching and therefore how it's performing. Obviously, if you venture into your broader analytics, there will be even more learnings that you can find that will help you make micro improvements for all of your content. But if I take you through all of those, we'll be here for 4 hours and my retention will plummet. So I'm not going to. So instead, I'm just going to leave you with those top tips. tips, and to always remember that it's about the micro improvements. We're not trying to make huge improvements for every single video, just small little tweaks here and there, and they will have a compounding effect, which will mean that in 6 months' time, your content will be significantly better than it was when you first got started. So that's it. Those are my 5 steps. I really hope you found that useful. Before you go, I really think you should check out this video. I basically break down the exact things that you need to do to start your YouTube channel. So I literally take you behind the scenes of doing your channel branding, all of that stuff. Like, it's really detailed. I'm very proud of this video. So if you've watched this one, then I really recommend watching this other one because I think you're gonna find it super useful. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I will see you in my next video.